Okay, you're in for a treaty McTreat today, guys. We have Mia is chatting to one of our members, Xanthi. Now, Xanthi has a podcast, That UGC Mum. She is one of our incredible members inside the Hive Hub Collective, but she actually invited Mia onto her podcast to have a chat. Now, what was really cool about this is, as somebody that got to edit this podcast, I got to listen to the whole thing in and out, and I know you are going to absolutely love it. So if you are starting your UGC journey, or you are on your UGC journey, or you are just gosh damn curious about what UGC is, user-generated content, and you want to hear more about Mia's story, which I still to this day love to hear because it blows my mind how far she's come. This is a really, really beautiful conversation. So sit back, enjoy, and we'll see you later. Bye. Let's go. Are you ready to master the art of creating content that converts?
Hey, I'm Mia, a mum of two who went from being a burnt-out AMBO to six-figure content creator in less than a year, all while navigating a late ADHD diagnosis.
And I'm Kristen, also a mum of two and a former corporate branding queen turned entrepreneur. My dyslexic brain sees marketing very differently, and that's my superpower.
And together we're showing women like you how to master video marketing and create content that generates income.
Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, we are breaking down everything from landing brand deals to building your own empire.
Welcome to I Am That Content Creator podcast, where we turn scroll-stopping content into serious income.
No filters, no fluff.
Just real strategies from two neurodivergent mums who get it. So let's turn your phone into a video marketing machine.
And let's go!
Let's go!
Guys, be professional, guys. How's it going? Okay, there's like, I'm sure done.
Hello, Mamma Mia. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Xanth? It's actually really nice to catch up with you properly.
I know. I get you all to myself for the first time ever. Yeah, thank you so much for being so generous with your time.
No worries.
I can't wait to unpack your crazy story with regards to UGC. So I thought I really wanted to start with you telling the audience who was Mia before your journey and who is Mia now.
I like that question because it's a bit of a stark difference between who I was and who I am now. Before I started creating content online, I was a very reserved, shy, introverted, anxiety-ridden person. I mean, I'm still pretty introverted now, but I would have fallen over if you had told me that I was posting on TikTok and doing all this stuff that I'm doing now. And I think I just had to get to a point where I was at breaking point with my job and my anxiety and everything that was going on in my life, that I just had to make a huge change. And the person that I am now is, I love creating content. I love putting myself out there. I love, recording podcasts and doing all that sort of stuff. And I just feel like a more freer version of myself. And I think you probably find this too, creating content, it's like a self-discovery journey, creating content and starting your own business. And before I did that, I was just, I was a paramedic, a nurse. I went to work every day. I did the thing. My creativity was zero, but I was a pretty broken person on the inside.
Why do you think that being a paramedic, in the grind broke you? Because the reason I'm asking is because I have other friends who are AMBOs. They thrive. They love their job. Why do you think you particularly weren't coping?
I'm a bit of a mixed bag. As you know, I've been recently, it's been a year now, I've been diagnosed with ADHD. And I think being a paramedic really suited that risk-taking, adrenaline-seeking aspects of me. Like, it's not a boring job. You're always on edge. You're always, out there, facing pretty crazy stuff. But the burnout was really bad for me. So, with the ADHD, sometimes you can't show up. You got to drag yourself out of bed. And, with the shift work and the early starts and, the 14-hour night shifts, when I brought kids into it and I had two babies at home, I was just broken physically and mentally. Not so much the type of job it is, like it is interesting and pretty fun, and the people that I worked with were amazing, but I think I because I didn't know I had ADHD, I thought I was just, a shit person, lazy, can't stick to a job, I'm always searching for more. So I think that's sort of why it didn't work out long term for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Mia, I feel that in my bones because I have ADHD too. And I remember before I knew I had ADHD, 4 panic attacks a day because I just kept asking myself, why am I like this? Pull your shit together, Xanthi. Like, why can't you do this simple thing?
Yeah. Why can't you just be normal and
like everyone else?
Everyone else. Yeah.
But now, like, I don't know about you, Mia, but now I'm just like, I wouldn't have it any other way. I really appreciate that I'm a hot mess because it makes me who I am today with all the things
fighting against it now. It's like, I know that this is who I am and why I am the way I am. So why would I fight against it? Which I was definitely doing back in the day because I got into nursing and paramedic science and stuff because I thought it was a good job when really I should have been in a creative job working for myself.
Yeah.
Doing this.
So Mia, talk to me now about the crazy world you're living in now and what you do and what you're all about now.
Yeah, so my journey started off, as you know, with UGC. I stumbled across it on TikTok randomly, saw someone talking about it, and I was, desperate not to go back to work with the babies at home. So I just tried it, and I don't know what it was inside me or what happened, but it just kind of took off. And I don't know if it was lucky or I was just so desperate to make something work that I just put my all into it, and it kind of just snowballed into this big thing of creating content and getting paid for it. And I was able to leave my job and travel in the caravan with the family, and then it snowballed into affiliate marketing and digital products. And now we're running the Hive Hub Collective, our community, which is full of, amazing women like you trying to do the same thing, like get your creativity, work from home around your family, design the life that you want through content. And so, my journey, it's been about 3 years now to get to this point, but it's been a bloody good one. And now that I have had a taste of freedom and entrepreneurship and making money this way, I'm completely unemployable. I would never go back to a normal job because I know what's possible now.
Yeah, totally. And for anyone who's not really up to speed with what the Hive Hub Collective is, the thing that you built, can you just explain what that is in a nutshell if you can?
Yeah. So I was, in my own world doing UGC and affiliate marketing, and this random chick slid into my DMs, which is Kristen Werner, my business partner now. And she, saw something in me. She's been in brand and marketing for many, many years, and she's a TikToker as well. And she saw something in me and a gap in the market. And she just put it to me and said, do you want to start something together? And I just had a good gut feeling because I'd been following her for a little while on TikTok. And I just said yes. And we started a membership, a community, and it's just grown from strength to strength. We hit 6 figures in our first 12 months and we're complete strangers. We still haven't met in person yet, but basically we empower and coach women to create content and get paid through it, paid with their content. So it's pretty fun.
Incredible. I do actually remember, I don't think I've shared this with either of you actually, but I remember when I first stumbled across Kristen on TikTok and I thought, holy shit, this woman I don't want anyone else to find her. I want her to myself because she's just a firecracker.
Yeah, she's got a charisma on screen, doesn't she? She just...
Yeah. And her ideas as well. I feel like, because I feel like I can relate to you quite a lot, Mia. I feel like we're quite similar in the fact that, ADHD and introverted. And I feel like Mia is kind of the yin to the yang of our personalities. So I just really magnetized towards her because she has everything that I need, everything, that I lack. She kind of feels, with her energy.
She brings that out in me as well. Like when she first said, let's start a podcast, I was like, oh God, really? I don't know if people want to listen to me talk for an hour, but it's that thing. You just almost need someone, another creator online or some coach to just bring it out of you and inspire you. And that's what we hope that we do inside the membership too, because we're just attracting so many women who are like us and who think like us, who want the same thing. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So, Mia, I just wanted to ask you about, so you're running your membership, but I know that you're still doing UGC, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're still in the trenches doing UGC.
Mm.
So tell me what that looks like for you now that you've been doing it for 3 years. Are you charging more than you were, and are you being more choosy with what you're taking on?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a progression from diving headfirst into UGC and just trying to make as much money as you can, replace your wage. Like that was my goal when I first started. So I went hard, and I sort of got to this point where I was hitting a 10K month and I couldn't believe it. But it was a lot of work, a lot of content, and a lot of back and forth with many brands at the same time. So I started to learn that, okay, if I want this to be a long-term gig, I need to be smart about it. I need to sort of do some things that are going to make it more sustainable in the long run. So I started incorporating other things like affiliate marketing and digital products into the work. So I had another income coming in on the side while I did the UGC. And as I created more content and worked with more brands and my portfolio, sort of built up, the brands would start coming to me. And so I didn't have to pitch as much. I didn't really pitch too much in the beginning either, but I think that was because 3 years ago, UGC wasn't that big of a thing yet. So the brands were pretty easy to, find you when they're searching UGC creator online. So I was pretty lucky in that regard, but I sort of just diversified my income. And now I'm at the point where I can be picky. I've increased my rates over time, and, brands will come into my inbox and I'll have a really good think about whether or not I want to work with them. Whereas before I was like, yeah, sweet, like I'll do that. And so I'm probably only doing maybe 2 gigs a month at the moment because we're running the business and got a few other things going on. But I like to do it that way because there's not so much pressure and you're not so rushed and, trying to find all these jobs all the time. And I have a really good relationship with a lot of brands. So I go back to brands and maintain relationships. So it's really easy to go back and work for them again, which is what, we encourage our students to do as well, is just maintain those long-term relationships, because brands, they need content all the time. And if your content performed well, building that relationship is going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to getting repeat work. So I spread everything out, and, when you get to that year 1, year 2, year 3, you can increase your rates and do a bit more with your content.
Yeah. And I really want to dive a bit more into income diversification, because I feel like that's an area where you've really shone. So can you say to any UGC creators out there who are kind of feeling that they want to branch out a bit and bolster their income? I mean, we've just had, the TikTok got banned for 24 hours, for God's sakes. I feel like everyone's feeling a little bit shaken up after that. And I think that more and more of us want to diversify our income. So can you talk about what people need to think about when they're doing that and potential avenues that they could explore to do it?
Yeah. So when I look back on my journey, the very first thing that I did was when I was building my audience, and, lots of people build audiences in different niches. Doesn't have to be just the UGC. I'm a UGC creator niche. I found that a lot of people, I was attracting a lot of other people who wanted to do UGC, and they were always in my DMs asking me all these questions. And I was spending a lot of time kind of mentoring and talking to people in the background about it for free. And I just figured, look, I think Stan Store came into my life, and I'm like, oh, what is Stan Store? It looks awesome. You can sell digital products. Wow. Maybe I'll just compile all of my knowledge that I've learnt over the last, few months and put it in a guide and sell it for $5 or whatever it was. And I just started doing that, and people were buying it. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, this is great. This is good little income on the side that's kind of helping me not have to do so many UGC jobs that I'm burnt out. So it sort of just started, low ticket digital products and moved into higher ticket affiliate offers, and sort of a natural progression. But I think for me, it was a lot of testing, a lot of speaking to people, wondering what their struggles were, testing my own things, like what did I want to talk about? What content did I want to create? What did I want to sell? Learning all of the fundamentals about freebies and digital products and funnels and all the rest of it. So it's a progression over time, but I almost think it's a bit of a natural progression. Most UGC creators that I see online have some sort of freebie or affiliate link in their bio or guide or what have you. So it's almost like it goes hand in hand. You're creating all this content anyway. You're building an audience anyway. Why not monetize it in different ways? So
yeah, for sure. And so you're talking a lot about testing there. How can people use their audience to test what's going to work for them?
Yeah. So a lot of it is engagement. What are they asking you in your DMs? You know, with your content, don't be afraid to post something random and see if it, you know, evokes a response with some people. Like entrepreneurship is one big science experiment. You just got to keep testing and trying and pivoting, and don't feel like you're a failure if you don't exactly know your direct path straight away. But it's that building an audience and a community and understanding them through your comments and DMs, and maybe you'll post a story. Hey guys, are you interested in this? If I tried building this for you, you get heaps of yeses. Okay, maybe I'll do this. And we talk about this in our membership as well, as backing the idea before you go and spend a lot of time building it. And that's a big mistake that I used to make before I came into this creator world. I had other businesses that I tried. I've got that entrepreneurial blood. And I would spend weeks and months building these things, and then I would go put it on Instagram and wonder why no one would buy it. So, you know, you've got to build that audience. You've got to understand them. You've got to solve a pain point for someone. And that's why we love UGC, because you're building that confidence. You're understanding what kind of content works well and what content converts. And by doing that and by getting more confident through your content, you're going to build a community and an audience. And then you just have to, like, it's social media. You have to be social. You have to interact and understand, you know, what does my audience actually need from me or want from me, rather than building it and then finding no one wanted that.
Yeah. And Mia, I feel like you're pretty good at building audiences, and you know, you've run a few different accounts, haven't you, on TikTok and Instagram? What do you think you're doing that's special that, you know, captivate people somehow?
Yeah. I mean, I think when I think about it, every single TikTok account that I've had, which is 3 main ones, my UGC one, the one that I've got now for affiliate marketing and the Hive, and an ADHD one. And for all 3 accounts, I have documented a journey. So I think people kind of like that. I relate to her, or I want to do what she's doing. I'm going to follow this journey and see what happens. And I find teaching really awkward for me. It's not my human design or what have you to just get up and teach a heap of people. I like to say, bring them on a journey. Like, I'm doing this and this is what's working and this is what's not working, and kind of passively teach people through what I'm doing. And I think that has a relatability sense with my audience. They can relate to me more than being told, this is what you should have to do. This is what you need to do. This is, you know, it's more, I don't know, like a passive way of building an audience, teaching them something, but also, yeah, being more relatable. And I think that's why I've sort of grown that audience. And I've also kind of, in a way, discovered over time that I hate the word niche and niching down, because my brain just does not want to do that. But the UGC account did well because it was just about UGC.
Yeah.
The ADHD account did really well because it's just about ADHD. Same with the affiliate marketing. And the minute you sort of talk to people about a few different things and it doesn't make sense, it kind of drops off. So you've got to be really conscious of calling people out and building that community with 1 or 2 things that they can relate with.
Yeah, sure. So you're on TikTok and Instagram, aren't you? Why is that? Why are you doing both?
Well, I'm predominantly on TikTok with my 3 accounts. Instagram, I've got an Instagram account that's just kind of like my portfolio. I've just dumped a few UGC videos there to send to brands if they want to link. But the one that I've got now, I mean, we've got the Hive Hub Collective one, which is a bit of a testing ground to see how we can both, me and Kristen, both create content to build an audience there. But I really think that having a personal brand is a fundamental aspect to building a business. People want to know what the founders are doing, the person behind the brand, not so much the business. So, I mean, I don't go hard on Instagram. I don't enjoy it as much there. I'm a bit of a loosey-goosey, not highly polished type content creator. So I find TikTok a lot better for me and I get a lot more reach. But I do understand that you sort of, like, TikTok could be taken away any second. You've got to diversify and put your content, you know, somewhere else as well.
What are your thoughts on, so I know that you've done a bit of a mix of both of these things. So, you know how some creators will go and hire a studio and get some really professional shots done of them and use that, you know, to have a really highly curated like Instagram profile. And then other creators will just be more raw, and both of it's personal brand. Where do you sit with all of that?
It's funny you asked that, because I have a Instagram reel in my draft section that I have not posted yet of me in one of those studios. It's all white. I've got my jacket on and shiny pants and just pretending to do work on my computer and getting all that B-roll that I absolutely hated doing at the time, because I was just like, oh my God, this is so weird and so embarrassing. And there's like people walking past and there's a couple other creators there. And I've got it in my drafts, and the text on screen is, this is fake. It is not me. I'm not working on my computer. I just can't relate with that type of content. I don't like creating it. I just thought that I had to do this studio thing to get some beautiful B-roll for Instagram. But it's just not me. And that's with your content. You just have to create content that you're going to be able to create for a long period of time and enjoy creating. Otherwise, you're going to give up. Like, I'm not going to go to a studio all the time and get that stuff. So I had this, it's in my drafts, and I just wanted it to be a message to other creators that you don't have to do this kind of stuff to make it work. I've built multiple six figures in my Grundies in the caravan. So it really just depends on what type of content that you like creating.
I love that message, Mia, because I feel like all too often in this space, everyone's just screaming at you what you should be doing. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should hire a studio. You should. And it's just like, whoa. But what if I don't want to?
Yeah. What about me and what I like?
Yeah. And if you're doing something that's like pushing shit uphill, you're just going to give up, right?
And I think, and me and Kristen talk about this all the time, all the Instagram gurus teaching you how to grow on Instagram, it almost makes you not create as much as you would if you didn't watch that stuff and you didn't, So we try not to watch it. And, the big Instagram gurus that are teaching you how to grow on Instagram usually have a big account because they're teaching people how to grow on Instagram. So for us, and definitely me, and I'm proof that you don't have to follow the rules and do everything perfectly to make a solid income with your content.
Yeah, I think it's a really good reminder of, okay, cool, followers is nice, but like, do they actually like you? Do they actually trust you?
And that's why it is so good too, because brands don't actually want the polished stuff. They want the real, they want the relatable, they want the mums with the messy hair waking up and going, oh my God, I found this new makeup and it's amazing because it takes me 2 seconds. They don't want this influencer in a studio saying, so it's one of the reasons why I think UGC was perfect for me, is because I could just do it in the caravan. I could do it, in the kitchen with the kids running around in the background. Yeah.
Totally. And what do you think, Mia, about, obviously it's just such a low barrier to entry. So there's so many creators springing up, every second. What do you think about the potentiality of UGC becoming too saturated?
Well, 3 years ago when I started, people were talking about it being too saturated then as well. Definitely in the US. But the thing is, every niche you could say is oversaturated, but a lot of UGC creators drop off. They find it's not for them. They give up, or they go on to bigger and better things, or, it almost feels like it's saturated because you're in that algorithm. So you're seeing lots of other creators, but you think about it, 80% of the country wouldn't even know what a UGC creator is or what UGC is. So, and there's that many brands that need content constantly. One ad, might do them for a month and then they need another one. And you think of how many brands globally, it's never going to be saturated. And, I think creators need to get smarter to stand out, especially with AI and all these changes coming in, like keeping up with it and, being smart about how you do it to be in the space for a long time. But yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be too saturated.
How can we be smart about it, Mia?
We can be smart about it by learning or becoming aware of what's happening in the space with AI and learning, teaching yourself, go on YouTube or watch TikToks about AI, just learn about it. You know, we're building AI agents that we've trained to help creators with their script writing and pitching and just becoming familiar with AI because, I mean, there's AI, what do you call them, avatars that are doing ads. I've seen quite a few on YouTube ads. I've actually seen one on TV. I'm like, oh, that's AI. That's definitely AI.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, so it's coming. I think I saw Meta release, I think I posted it in the Facebook group. Meta said that they're going to start making it compulsory for you to put an AI generated tag on anything that's AI generated, which is great for us creators and UGC creators. I know for me, when I see AI ads, I'm like, ew, no, but you've just lost my trust there. I'm not buying that. So that's good for us in a way that, you know, we'll still have that human, you know, relatability type thing. And I think people will get sick of seeing AI avatars and want real people. But you think about all the creators who are learning about AI and using these tools to make their scripts better and all that sort of stuff, you know, they're going to be ahead of you. So if you don't keep up with it, you know, you might fall behind a little bit. And I look at AI in this space as brilliant because I can now go and say to a brand, do you want me to write all your scripts for you? Do you want me to be your creative, you know, director? Do you want me to do all your voiceovers for all of your ads? And, you know, you can clone your voice and get scripts in a second if you know what UGC scripts do well. And, you know, you have an agent that you've trained or, you know, you can provide these brands who are super, super busy with all this other stuff with extra services that beforehand, you know, we might not have thought about.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a sign of the times, isn't it? Because I feel like with any job, you have to be able to pivot these days because everything's just changing so quickly. You know, I've got a friend who is a cinematographer and he has been for like 20 years. And for the first, you know, he's just got a new baby, and for the first time in a really long time, he's hardly getting any work because AI is replacing his job. So he's having to pivot right now, and he's got a really high paying job that he's been doing for years. So I think it's not just our industry, and we're so lucky to be early adopters in UGC because we are. It's so new.
Yeah.
So if we can just keep that in mind and know that, you know, we're actually ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
And just be agile.
Yeah. And I mean, if these avatars do become, you know, a household thing, like, well, maybe you could learn how to create them and create the script and put it all together because that might be, you know, the next thing where creators can flourish and make a lot of money from is actually building them.
Jump on it, guys.
Yeah.
And so also a lot of people have been talking about UGC is dead and employee generated content is where it's at now. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, there were people saying UGC is dead as well. I mean, content is content. Everyone needs content. Not every brand is going to have the means to employ someone in the warehouse and create TikToks all day. I have seen a lot of jobs on Seek who are advertising for TikTok content creators to, you know, be employed by them. So I think brands are realizing that, yes, having a content creator as an employee is pretty important these days. But I don't think UGC creators will die off. There's no, I know for me, I'm already a bit sick of watching the content of the chicks doing orders in the warehouse. Like there's only so much you can do. And if you want your brand to gain trust with people, like obviously having a face to the brand is great for organic as well, but having different people review your products is always going to be important. I think there's always going to be a need for, you know, UGC creators. And I think it's sort of like ads. You could say that TV ads are dead because there's social media, but they're still doing them.
Yeah.
It's all content, it's all marketing, it's all advertising. So I'm not worried.
It's interesting. I have actually seen on TV that they're doing UGC style ads on TV, which is pretty interesting to see. Yeah, just, you know, like still just really aspirational people on there. Like it's not, they've got a bit of work to do on there. I think they need more authentic looking people, but yeah, it's kind of like UGC style. So I wanted to ask you, so Mia, what do you think currently is sort of the winning formula for highly converting UGC ads?
Yeah, so it hasn't really changed since I've started. I still create my ads pretty much the same as I did in the beginning, and I've had a lot of ads, run for 9 to 12 months. And it's the good old formula, a hook. Everyone needs a hook. You got to hook them in. They're not going to see what the product is if you can't hook them in that first 3 seconds. And I'll talk to you about some metrics that are important to understand as well. There's always going to be a problem. Products that sell well, solutions to problems. People buy solutions. So outlining the problem, try and, bring your story into it, or a story of some type about the problem and what problem you are having. And then it's really important to insert the solution pretty early on, because if you drag out the problem too long, people don't stay on ads for very long, and they'll swipe before you even get to the solution. So bring that solution in. And then, social proof, testimonials is really important when you're creating an ad that needs to have a direct response. Like people are seeing the ad and buying directly from that ad. Whereas all your organic stuff, you've got time to nurture them and to do other things. But for UGC, you've got to prove that it works. There's social proof. And then your call to action. People need to be told what to do sometimes. It seems a little bit weird for us because, you click the link and you buy it, but sometimes people need to be told. So having a call to action. So, and that formula, has worked. I haven't had any brands come back to me and say, oh, no, change it. Obviously, there's other styles of UGC like unboxings and get ready with me. But you sort of got to incorporate that formula into everything to get a direct sale. So, yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of the metrics that you just sort of dangled the carrot about, explain what you're talking about there.
Yeah, I'll grab up some notes because there's some numbers that you can actually go back to ask the brand, get your results from the ads that you've done with them. Because if you can put that on your portfolio and you've had a really good ad, they're like, well, she knows what she's doing. She's had good results, pretty confident that, I'm happy to employ this person. So I'll just try and find, here we go. So like we spoke before, the hook rate. So in Facebook Ads Manager, they've got all the back-end metrics that they can have a look at. And the hook rate is a really important one because that's how well you're able to hook the audience in. So an average hook rate is about 25%. And so a good hook rate is over 30%. So if you can go to a brand and say, hey, what was my hook rate on that ad that I sent you? And they said 45%. Sweet, that's really good. I'm putting that in my portfolio that, I average 40% of my hook rates. Then there's a hold rate as well. So how long can you sort of hold that person on your video for? Pretty low numbers. Average is about 2 to 3%, but then a good is 5 to 15%. So again, you ask the brand, what was my hold rate? Oh, it was 15%. Great. I'm going to put that in my portfolio as well. And then you can start to see the type of ads that do well. Like, oh, that hook was really good. I can use that again in a similar way on another ad. And then also your video average play time. So how long they actually play the video, which is really important to understand because it's like that hook. If you don't hook them in really quickly, they only stay on average for 3 to 5 seconds. So if you can get a really good watch time, so the benchmarks you sort of want around 10 seconds, mid-range is about 10 to 20 seconds. So if you can hold them longer, you're going to get them towards the end where they see the solution, see the call to action. So if you can get those metrics from the brand, you can charge more because it's proof that your videos work well. ROAS as well. That's another big one too. What was the ROAS on this ad? So return on ad spend. Yeah.
Yes.
Anything over sort of 3 to 4 ROAS is good. We get about 5 to 6 ROAS on our launches. So, it's a good indication that the content or the ad has worked really well for them. And that's really valuable.
And so all these metrics, they're just finding in their meta dashboard?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So there's actually one that's called hook rate in there.
Yeah. Yep. In the charts. So write down hook rate, hold rate, playtime and ROAS and just say to the brand, do you mind giving me those metrics? And obviously, if they're not good, you wouldn't put them on your portfolio, but it's a good learning experience to actually understand, okay, that ad didn't really work that well.
Yeah.
You understand why.
Yes, I'm doing that, Mia. I think I'm going to set up like an email sequence, like maybe a month after I've submitted a video and ask for those 4 things. And hopefully someone's going to come back to me with some good numbers.
Yeah. And it also shows to the brand that you know what you're talking about, you're interested in improving, and, you know, they might work with you again and say, look, that hook rate, it was only 20%. I've got another video that I did and the hook rate was 50%. Do you want me to try something similar and we can do it again or something? And that's how you're going to get return customers and repeat jobs too.
Yeah, actually, that's reminded me something. So I wanted to ask you what your thoughts on this are. So I had a customer email me. They'd already started running the ad, and they emailed me maybe 4 days after they started running it saying, oh, the ad was a flop. Can you just rejig a few things?
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that? I did rejig a few things because obviously I don't want any of my ads to be a flop.
Yeah.
But what would you have done in that scenario?
I mean, that's where your contract comes in handy because you can say, look, if you want me to do some revisions, I'm going to charge for that because that's my time and money and all the rest of it. So, and it's also a good opportunity before that happens is to do your packages. So how about I do 3 alternative hooks, $50 each. It's just you changing out the hook. And that way they can test a few different creators to see which one works. But yeah, I mean, it's ads. It's a big testing game. It's all one test. So you're going to have ads that flop. We've got ads that flop when we're doing launches as well. So it happens, but it's a good learning experience. But just don't let the brands kind of walk over you and get you to do work. And just because, you know, and usually ads will take a little bit longer than a week to get that data back and, you know, discover whether it's a good or a flop. So yeah, it's all learning, but
yeah, that's true actually, Mia, because like the ads generally take a week to go into their, you know, to go into the learning, to learn the algorithm. So
yeah. And you could get the numbers back from them and say, just out of curiosity, what was the hook rate? And maybe that's where it went wrong. And then you change the hook. So
yes, for sure. So Mia, where do you see UGC going in the future? We've spoken about AI and we've spoken about, you know, the formula kind of staying true throughout. What kind of things have you been seeing that you think, okay, that's going to get legs?
A lot. I mean, apart from AI, which is pretty huge, I'm interested to see where that goes with the avatars and whatnot. But it's kind of like marketing. Everything, there's fundamentals that just work and that have been in marketing for many, many, many years. Content creation's not going anywhere. I think it will be harder to stand out the more creators that come on board. So perhaps new creators might struggle a little bit to, you know, stand out. But brands need content all the time. The formula works. Yes, AI will come into it, but I can't see anything huge changing in the near future. Haven't seen anything that has just blown my mind and thought, shit, like I'm not going to be in a job soon, even though AI is pretty huge and pretty scary, but it's also exciting and it also opens up new opportunities. But I think, yeah, brands are always going to need content. Content creators will never die. I think, yeah. What do you think? I don't think that there's anything that I'm immediately worried about anyway.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think it's only really going to get better, especially for us who have jumped on it now. I think the way that we get jobs potentially, I think is going to become a lot more formalized. So, you know, things like Kitesite. Yeah, I'm excited about Kitesite, but I think there's going to be a lot more things like that rather than like, oh, a nice little tidy inbound coming into my inbox.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe AI automated systems that will help you get jobs or, you know, lots of platforms coming out. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So on that, Mia, what have you found is the best way to get UGC jobs?
For me, it's just creating a shitload of content and building that personal brand and attracting them to you. Pitching can take a lot of time, and, you might pitch 20 and only hear back from one. So it's not a super effective way to do it, but that personal brand is so important, and you may as well be building it anyway, because you might choose to pivot at any point. So building that brand is where it's at. And, there's nothing better than having brands come to you, because then you feel a bit more, they actually want me, I can charge my worth. And that takes time. Building a brand, personal brand takes time. And in the meantime, I used to get a lot of jobs through Twitter. It's still got a pretty big UGC community over there. I think it's called X now. Upwork, Betterflow, there's lots of these platforms, Facebook groups as well. But if you can stand out in any way and try and attract brands, it's going to make your life a lot easier.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like you're the organic queen. Like I think you've built all your businesses on organic content, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But it reminds me, so I had a conversation with Kelly Bright, another Hive member last week on the podcast. And it really does all come down to what you feel comfortable with and how you enjoy approaching it. Because, in Kelly's case, she doesn't have time for it, and she doesn't enjoy as much building her personal brand and creating the content. And so she prefers to pitch. She really likes pitching, little crazy person.
And you've got brands that you absolutely love. And on that point, when we were traveling around Australia in our caravan, I scored a job with a brand that was 20 videos a month. So I didn't really have to do many other jobs, because I was just working with him for months, and that was it. And I used to batch 10 videos on one day, 10 videos on another day, and then I had the rest of the month to do nothing. Having those retainer clients is really helpful if you're busy, got another job, kids, all that sort of stuff.
I feel like retainer clients is like the holy grail of a UGC creator's journey. Have you got any tips for anyone who's really trying to get a retainer client? Like how?
Yeah, well, I was basically the face of their TikTok account, which is a lot to hold on your shoulders. And it can, if you don't really love the product, it can get a little bit repetitive creating the same kind of content and coming up with all these ideas, because it is like a post a day or what have you. But going back to brands that you've already worked with, it's just like, if you don't do it, you're just leaving money on the table, not building those relationships. And just put it to them. Say, I've got this idea for all these concepts. Do you want to have a talk about it? And I'm happy to, do 5 videos a month, 10 videos a month, and just put ideas on the table. All they can say is no. And, Tracy, who is in our community as well, she's got some really awesome retainer clients that she's been with for ages. And, that money is funding her business that she's building now with her fitness app. So, and, you don't have to worry too much about chasing brands. So go back to the ones you've already worked with, put it on the table, use AI tools to come up with concepts and scripts that might prick their interest and go, oh, that's a really good idea. Like maybe we should do that.
I love that, because it just gives you breathing space, doesn't it? And speaking of, so, I mean, this shit gets hard, right? It's not for the weak of heart. So what's your advice for when you're just like, I'm not cut out for this, I'm going to throw the towel in, done. What do you do?
Yeah. And look, we've all been there. Like there's the thing with UGC, I think a lot of new people don't realize is that it's a legitimate business. You're a professional. There's admin, there's tax, there's invoicing, there's all that shit that you got to do in the background, which is what KiteSight is trying to help creators with, like all the back end shit. Like find processes and systems that will make your life easier. And now with AI, it's going to be so helpful because, things are going to come out all the time now that will help. Hire a VA if you've got some good money. And, we've hired VAs for our business too. And sometimes you think, oh, I can't afford a VA. But then you'll think, well, can I afford not to? If she does all of the pitching and all of the emails and editing and all that stuff, then I have more time to actually make more money. So, that's another thing. Putting systems in place and perhaps outsourcing an editor or what have you, going on Fiverr, finding someone to edit your videos for you. things that take the pressure off and diversifying with digital products, because you can burn out really easily. And I found, having ADHD as well, is I'd have 3 boxes sitting on the table. Like, I need to do that content. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Winking at you. They're sitting there winking, aren't they? Like, hello.
And the brand's like, you got that content yet? Like, like, it piles up and you can get really, you know, overwhelmed and exhausted. So, yeah, I think you just got to be smart about it. And, you know, I've gone through phases where I haven't done UGC for a few months because I'm just like, I just can't be bothered dealing with brands. And that's where that diversification comes in. You're like, oh, thank God I've got that, you know, Stan affiliate commission coming in every month or whatever it is. Yeah.
And that's why I love UGC, because, you know, for a brain like mine and energy levels like mine, like I'm not a constant 10 out of 10. So
Don't know what the day's going to bring.
It's nice being able to dip in and dip out.
Yeah. You've got the skill for life now. You can do it gung-ho or not. Do it once a month.
Yeah.
Like, save up for a holiday, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of gung-ho, actually, you mentioned that you've had your 10K month. How did that go? Because that's a lot, right?
It's a lot. It is, for me, it was not sustainable as a UGC creator to hit 10K months every month. Absolutely not. I was just, absolutely exhausted. And I that's basically when I went to affiliate marketing, because I was just like, I'm burnt out. I don't think I can work with another brand right now. So yeah, it's a lot. Still trading time for money. You're a service. So that's where that digital product affiliate stuff comes in, because it's just not sustainable. There are a few big UGC creators that I've seen in the US that seem to have big months all the time, but I would assume that they would have an editor, have a VA, have other help. Otherwise, it'd be really hard.
Yeah, or they're a robot. There's no other way.
Yeah.
And I think on the VA thing, you were saying people can have that block thinking, I don't know if I've got enough money for a VA. But the way that I see it, I have hired a VA before. It was an absolute horror story, which I did actually spill the tea on my podcast. She fucked me over, man.
Really?
But I will get another one. I will be hiring slow. But the way that I felt about it was I was paying her $400 a month, and I was like, if she can get me one UGC job, she's paid for. That's done.
Yeah.
And I can tax deduct paying her as well. So
exactly.
I think they're worth their weight in gold if you can get a good one.
Yeah, that's the hard part too. We've had a couple of meh ones as well. So it's hard to get a good one. But when you do, you've just got to, work with them, and it can literally change your business. We do a lot of James Wedmore stuff. He's sort of our main guru and coach. And he's like, you literally you can't scale your business if you don't hire someone to help, basically, because you end up doing all the little nitty-gritty things that take up time, and then all of a sudden you haven't created any content for a week because you've been doing all this other stuff. So yeah, scary paying someone, but if you want to grow and scale, you got to do it eventually.
I think James Wedmore was actually the one that gave me the idea. I think I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he was saying, like, as soon as you can, outsource everything you can, because otherwise you're not going to grow. Yep,
basically. Yeah.
Are there who are your favorite gurus who you just think have the most sage advice?
Yeah, James is one of them. This is the thing on social media. It can be so easy to overconsume and listen to too many different gurus, and you're like, oh my God, he said this and she said that, and what should I do? So we've really honed in and just, Kristen's been with James for a few years now. He's our go-to. What he says goes. Every time we do what he says, it works. So he's our favorite one. And obviously, I like Alex Hormozi and a few other ones that, fly around the shop. But you've got to find someone who you can relate with, who, James he goes on the woo-woo side as well, which we love. And you just got to relate to them and just pick one and stick with them, because it's too happening otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, James, he is woo, isn't he? He's actually best friends with Manifestation Bay.
Yeah.
So that says it all, doesn't it? But it's funny that you said that, Mia, because I recently had that thought. I'm just like, oh my God, my brain there's just too many opinions going around. So I actually put a note on my phone. I think I called it like Guru Focus. And I've put 3 people's names down just to remind myself, like the minute I'm sitting there listening to someone blabbing on about what they think, just stop. Because there's only 3 people that I'm trying to focus on at the moment because I think that they give the best advice.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing with short form content. It can be really overwhelming because you're scrolling all the time. But a podcast, you're sitting down with one person and you're listening to them for half an hour or 40 minutes. Yeah. And it can be much more refreshing and you actually learn something. I also like Boss Babe. She's a mum and she gets it. She, and Jenna Kutcher, there's a few that are great. I like their podcasts. But yeah, finding one that just, you resonate with their processes and their systems. Yeah, stick with one.
Agreed. That's actually why I started this podcast, because I just feel like social media is a screaming match. Like everyone's intentions aren't pure on there. They just want to get your attention. Yeah. And, especially with UGC, everyone's trying to sell this glamorous life so that you buy their digital product. But I genuinely, I want to help mums. Like I want mums to know what they're getting in for.
Yeah. Yeah. And we love it too, in that kind of inspiring and empowering older women in their 40s and beyond, that you don't have to be this 20-something-year-old spruiking, that lifestyle of beauty products and aesthetic videos and lying on a boat and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be like that. And, podcasts are great because you're building that trust funnel rather than, like you said, you just like trying to get attention on social media. Long form content is really great for building that trust and actually talking to people on a more personal level, and they feel like they get to know you better because you just, having a conversation, you're not doing a hook and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's real life. So what's coming up for the Hive Hub Collective, Mia?
Yeah, well, 2025, we've got, our word of the year is focus and talking about that.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, last year, I swear to God, Kristen's got ADHD too, but last year was a year of testing and building and pivoting and all these things and just going wild in our multi-passionate selves.
Whiplash.
Yeah, basically. But we've realised that, again, listening to James, you need to focus on one thing and repeat it again and again and again. No matter how boring it gets, you need to repeat it. So we're doing lots of launches, the same launch. This is the thing with UGC, you get really good at creating ads and then you can start running ads for your own business, your own product. So we're running ads and we're doing live webinars, building our business that way. We've always, we've done a podcast every week for, the last year, so that we're still doing that. And, we're building little AI tools here and there that are going to help our students, but it's getting your messaging right and focusing on one thing and doing it over and over and giving it enough time to test and prove if it's, working or not before you move on to the next thing. So, yeah.
So less but better.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the best. You're amazing. Thank you so much, Mia, for your time. I'm really excited to share this. Yeah.
I'll wait to, we also, this is another focus thing where we want to do an in-person event for, all of our UGC creators and members, hopefully that will happen because I think that's another thing that's heading in that direction is in-person things, in-person
People
events.
Want connection.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not afraid of AI avatars because people just want real people, real experiences.
Yeah. Actually, on that, I have a story. I don't know. I forgot the name of the film, but there's this amazing film it's a true story. It's about a man who kayaks from New Zealand across the Tasman.
Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
I'm starting to get goosebumps because it's just it's a documentary.
Yeah.
It's a real man he's got a tiny, cute little boy, who's about 3 or 4 and his wife, and they see him off at the beach and they're like, good luck. And I'm pretty sure it's from Australia to New Zealand. He doesn't make it. He makes it like he's 50 miles offshore and his kayak, he capsizes in this crazy storm and he has an EPIRB on him. So an EPIRB is a personal locating beacon. So all you have to do is, I had one on my boat, you have to pull the cord and it will send a message to Marine Rescue. They'll come and get you. This guy, he had his EPIRB on him and he had a radio and he was dying in the cold waters of New Zealand. And did he set his EPIRB off? No. He called Marine Rescue and said, my kayak's sinking. I need someone to help me. And the reception wasn't good enough. And they were like, we need to know where you are. You must trigger your EPIRB. We won't be able to find you just from this call. And he was like, somebody save me. My kayak's sinking. And then it goes all fuzzy and he's obviously gone. So that hit me because it just shows, the human need for connection, when you're the pits of despair.
You're
all you want is another person. You don't think about technology. You don't think about pulling your EPIRB.
So true.
Yeah. Very extreme example, but I feel like that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. People just want connection. Yeah. And I think that's why, UGC works as well, because people just want to see real people who they can relate with. Yeah. 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 And that's another thing why we love community. And, if your listeners are doing UGC themselves, it's so important to find a community of people that you can talk to, who you can rally with, who just get it, because it can be pretty lonely online if you don't.
So tell me, is there going to be wine at this in-person event?
Absolutely.
Fuck, I'll be there.
Yep, lots of wine.
Sign me up.
Lots of neurodivergent women creating content.
What could possibly go wrong?
No, we can't wait. And that's the thing. And even like you, I feel like I know all of the community members on a personal level. Like I've never met any of you in person, but you just form those connections, and that's what makes it so much fun. Yeah,
like there's going to be no need to break the ice. Like I feel like we're just all, and that's what I love about our community at the Hive. Like everyone's like a little bit weird and quite sweary and inappropriate.
Yeah, we're attracted our people.
So I have a feeling that the in-person event is gonna
be loose. Yeah, it's gonna be loose. I'm gonna start planning it now.
Yay! Thanks, Mia. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me. I love this. Yeah. Well done on the podcast.
Oh, thank you. You were my inspiration.
And you know what? That's for your listeners too. You find a content medium that you love doing.
Yeah.
And you'll create more.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I can't wait. Like when I have a podcast interview booked in, I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Well,
so it's nice.
Maybe we'll get you on the house.
Thank you.
Good chat.
You're the best.
Shit podcast. There's so many good ones too.